Something extraordinary happened in Monaco that nobody saw coming, and the images have left the world absolutely stunned, because when you think of royalty you imagine composure, perfection, and those practiced smiles that never falter. But what unfolded on the rocks of Monaco shattered every expectation we had about Princess Charlene and Prince Albert, revealing a side of royal life that palaces work tirelessly to keep hidden from public view. And before we dive deep into this unprecedented moment, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because we bring you the real stories behind the crowns, the moments that official press releases conveniently forget to mention. And if you love uncovering the truth about royal families, then you absolutely need to share this video, comment your thoughts below, and join our community of viewers who refuse to accept the sanitized versions of royal life that we're constantly fed. The Mediterranean sun was beating down on the rocky shores of Monaco when Princess Charlene and Prince Albert made what was supposed to be a routine public appearance, but routine is the last word anyone would use to describe what happened next, because during this visit something went terribly wrong, and the carefully constructed image of Monaco's royal couple began to crack right before everyone's eyes. And we're not talking about a minor slip or an awkward moment, we're talking about genuine raw emotion breaking through in a way that left witnesses uncomfortable, shocked, and desperately trying to understand what they were witnessing, because Princess Charlene has always been known for her stoic demeanor, her athletic grace from her Olympic swimming days, and her ability to maintain royal protocol even during the most challenging times. But on this particular day on those rocks, something pushed her past the breaking point. Now let's talk about what actually happened, because the details matter enormously and they paint a picture that's far more complex than any official statement could ever convey. So there they were, Prince Albert and Princess Charlene, visiting a coastal area in Monaco, engaging with residents and presumably enjoying what should have been a pleasant interaction with the people they represent. But according to eyewitness accounts, there was one resident in particular whose reaction to the royal couple was anything but welcoming, and this wasn't just mild disappointment or polite distance, this was visible upset, this was emotion that couldn't be contained. And when you're standing on rocks with cameras everywhere and someone is clearly distressed by your presence, the situation becomes incredibly difficult to navigate, especially when you're representing an entire principality and expected to maintain dignity at all times. The most striking detail that emerged from this encounter was the physical manifestation of emotion that witnesses described, because Princess Charlene's eyes reportedly became reddened, and for anyone who understands royal protocol and the intense training these individuals undergo to control their public emotions, this detail is absolutely seismic, because we're talking about a woman who has faced relentless media scrutiny, speculation about her marriage, countless rumors about her wanting to escape Monaco, and through it all she has maintained an almost superhuman level of composure. But something about this interaction with this upset resident cut through all of that training, all of those years of building emotional walls, and reached something deeply human inside the princess. And that's what makes this moment so powerful and so disturbing, because it reminds us that underneath the tiaras and the titles, these are real people dealing with real emotions and real pain. Prince Albert's reaction during this incident is equally telling, because he found himself in an impossible position, trying to support his wife while also managing a delicate public relations situation and attempting to understand and possibly address whatever had upset this resident so dramatically. And anyone who has watched the Monaco royals knows that Albert has always been somewhat of a stabilizing presence, always diplomatic, always measured, but even his practiced composure must have been tested during this encounter, because when your spouse is visibly upset and a member of the public is clearly distressed and cameras are recording everything, the pressure becomes absolutely immense, and you have to wonder what was going through his mind in those moments. Was he thinking about damage control, about getting Charlene away from the situation, about what this would look like in the press, or was he simply concerned for his wife's well-being, trying to understand what had triggered such a strong emotional response? The identity and motivations of the upset resident remain somewhat mysterious, and that mystery only adds to the intrigue surrounding this entire incident, because we don't know exactly what was said, what complaint or grievance this person had, or why their reaction was strong enough to visibly affect Princess Charlene. But what we do know is that this wasn't a staged moment, this wasn't part of any official program, this was spontaneous, genuine, and uncomfortable for everyone involved, and that authenticity is precisely what makes it so compelling, because in an age where royal appearances are choreographed down to the second, where every handshake and smile is planned and practiced, moments of genuine human emotion breaking through become incredibly rare and incredibly valuable for understanding what royal life is really like behind the carefully maintained facade. Monaco itself is a fascinating backdrop for this drama because it's one of the smallest countries in the world but also one of the wealthiest and most glamorous, and the royal family there exists in this strange space between being incredibly visible because of the principality's size and being somewhat isolated from the larger royal families of Europe. And Princess Charlene's journey to becoming Monaco's princess has been anything but smooth because she came from South Africa as an Olympic athlete and found herself thrust into a world of protocol, tradition and expectation that was completely foreign to everything she had known. And over the years there have been persistent rumors about her unhappiness, about feeling trapped, about wanting to return to her homeland, and while the palace has consistently denied these rumors and presented a united front, the occasional crack in that facade, like what happened on these rocks, tells a different story. The symbolism of this happening on rocks is almost too perfect because rocks are hard, unyielding, unchanging, much like the expectations and protocols that govern royal life, and yet rocks are also where waves crash, where nature's force meets immovable objects, and sometimes things break, and perhaps that's what we witnessed here, a moment where the relentless pressure of royal life finally crashed against Princess Charlene's human limitations, and something had to give, and the fact that this happened in such a public setting makes it all the more powerful because there was nowhere to hide, no private room to retreat to, no way to process these emotions away from watching eyes and recording devices, and that vulnerability, that forced transparency, is something we almost never see from royal families who have perfected the art of privacy and image control. The broader context of Princess Charlene's recent years makes this incident even more poignant because she has been through an extraordinary amount of physical and emotional challenges, including serious health issues that kept her away from Monaco for extended periods, and when she finally returned there was visible change in her appearance, in her demeanor, and the public couldn't help but notice and speculate and worry because she looked fragile in a way that she never had during her athletic prime, and the palace's explanations were always medical, always focused on physical health, but anyone watching could see that the toll was more than just physical, that something deeper was affecting Monaco's princess, and this incident on the rocks seems to confirm what many have long suspected, that Princess Charlene is struggling with something far more complex than any official statement has ever acknowledged. What makes this situation particularly difficult is the fishbowl existence that comes with being Monaco's princess, because unlike larger royal families where there are multiple members to share the spotlight and the burden, Princess Charlene and Prince Albert are essentially it for Monaco. They are the face of the entire principality, and that means there's no escape from scrutiny, no ability to fade into the background when things get difficult. And for someone like Charlene, who came from a world where achievement was measured in swimming times and Olympic medals, adapting to a world where your worth is measured in public perception and protocol adherence must have been incredibly jarring. And after years of trying to meet these impossible standards, perhaps what we saw on those rocks was simply a moment where the mask slipped, where the effort of maintaining that perfect royal image became too much and genuine human emotion broke through. The public reaction to this incident has been fascinating because people are divided between those who see it as confirmation of long-held suspicions about Charlene's unhappiness and those who view it as an invasion of privacy, an unfair moment of vulnerability being exploited for gossip and headlines. But regardless of which perspective you hold, the undeniable truth is that something significant happened on those rocks, something that revealed the human cost of royal life in a way that carefully staged photo opportunities never can, because we got to see past the jewelry and the designer clothes and the practiced waves to witness genuine emotional distress, and that's uncomfortable for everyone involved, including us as observers, because it forces us to confront the reality that the fairy tale of royal life often comes with a price that's far higher than any of us realize. So what does this mean for Monaco's royal family moving forward? Because incidents like this don't just disappear, they linger in public consciousness, they fuel speculation, and they put additional pressure on already strained situations, and the palace will undoubtedly work to minimize the fallout, to explain away the incident, or to simply ignore it and hope that the news cycle moves on. But for those who witnessed it, for those who saw Princess Charlene's reddened eyes and understood that something deeper was happening, this moment will be remembered as a crack in the carefully maintained royal facade, and once cracks appear, they have a tendency to spread and widen over time, making it harder and harder to maintain the illusion of perfection. The question that this entire incident raises is fundamental and deeply troubling. What are we asking of these individuals when we place them in royal roles and expect them to maintain impossible standards of composure and dignity at all times? And is it fair or even humane to demand that level of performance from people who are ultimately just human beings with the same emotions, vulnerabilities, and breaking points as everyone else? And when we witness moments Like what happened on those Monaco rocks, are we seeing failure, or are we seeing the inevitable result of a system that asks too much and gives too little support? And perhaps most importantly, what responsibility do we as observers and consumers of royal news bear for creating the pressure that leads to these breaking points? Because every click, every share, every comment contributes to the relentless scrutiny that makes royal life so impossibly difficult. After everything we've explored about this shocking incident in Monaco, after understanding the context, the history, and the human cost of royal life, we're left with one burning question that deserves your honest answer in the comments below, because this isn't just about Princess Charlene or Prince Albert or Monaco. This is about how we view royalty, how we treat public figures, and what we're willing to accept as entertainment versus what crosses the line into exploitation. So here's what I need you to tell me. Do you think Princess Charlene should step back from royal duties to protect her mental and emotional well-being, even if it means breaking centuries of royal tradition? Or do you believe she has a responsibility to Monaco and its people that transcends her personal struggles and requires her to continue regardless of the cost?